consultant for close to 30 years now. Essentially, I do quite a bit of consulting as well, which is quite significant departure from training, because training is actually just sharing ideas as much as you could, whereas consulting is about implementation. So this is what I have been doing full-time for a number of years now. And the highlight of my career is to actually help one of my clients to become the champion of productivity. That client is the size is about 2,000 workers in quite a sizable organization. Okay, so that's just about myself, and what I'd like to do is that we may not have time to actually get through everybody. It's about 49 now of you. So maybe you can actually either type on the screen or the chat box, or maybe put a hi somewhere in a hand signal. And how many of you have been exposed to topics like strategy, strategic thinking, strategic planning? Just type a 1 or put a wave on the screen. So I think either one will be fine. So if you could just see your chat, so you could type 1 if you've been exposed to that. Thank you, Josiah. So just a quick warm-up to allow me to have some sense of the participants for today. Okay, so it's quite a bit of 1. That's good. It's just 4 of you so far, and so let's get to it while the rest of you get kind of warmed up to this. And I'm going to start this by maybe sharing some ideas. And I don't have a present for you, but maybe this would help. And can anybody guess, or you can type in, what's the first business of Coca-Cola? So this is, I think, it's not that difficult. Some of you may have been exposed to that. So what is the first business for Coca-Cola? Anybody like to maybe guess? You can unmute. Oh, sorry, you can't unmute because there are 50 of us, so it's kind of difficult to manage. Soft drinks. Thank you, Grace. That's a very, very good try. And soft drinks. Okay. So the question here is that, ladies and gentlemen, first business of Coca-Cola. All right. So Robin and Yukian, a little bit closer to that, is actually interesting. Pharmaceutical. Yes. So as you get along to kind of getting used to this, the other thing that I would like to also, Nokia is also a very interesting case. So you guys can try, what is the first business for Nokia? So Nokia, first business. So we can get HP, handphone. Okay, Adeline, thank you so much. Handphone, Ariati, thank you. So you guys, by the time we ask this question, try to avoid the first thing that pops into your mind. The handphone is actually the third business number 3 for Nokia. Okay, someone say electronics. Thank you so much. And the first business is, hopefully it's not too shocking, and something completely very, very different. And by the way, Nokia, Coca-Cola, they both have been more than 100 years old. And the point of sharing this is that organizations, they last quite a bit of time, and but on average, the mortality rate is actually quite high among organizations. And some companies last very long because they are able to change, they're able to morph from A to B. So, and that's part of what we want to talk about today. So today, Raytheon, you might not be very familiar, and they actually started with refrigerator. Okay, so interesting. And of course, you have Tiffany. Okay, so it's a fancy jewelry. Some of you might be familiar with this company. And they started with, okay, something which is very interesting. They actually started with this one, stationery. And DuPont, those of you who are a good cook, at home, Teflon non-stick cooking pans and so on. So DuPont actually started with explosive. And all right, that's last one, Avon. So it's not cosmetics, as you know the way I asked you. DuPont paint, very different. All right, that's a thing. Thank you. But it's good to get, thank you, Grace and Hariati, Guo Hao. Thanks so much for your participation. So it's a bit of interaction moving on. So how about this? Door-to-door book sales, right, Avon. So interesting. The idea of doing this is that you have the morphing of organizations from A to B, but the point is, of course, for any organization to last for a long time, you do not necessarily have to change from A to B to C, but it's just some context for us to think about. Hopefully, a bit of sharing. So next time, at least you can use this as a quiz to check with your colleagues as well. All right, let's go into it. So a quick dry one. Strategy is about some kind of an action for us to design design to achieve a certain goals. And so it's a little bit of military in origin from the Greek word, all right, strategos. Oxford, art of war, and of course, politics, business, plan of actions, etc. And the thing that I would like to work with you for this short compact session is to have a quick discussion. What is a business? So the first question about strategy is always about what is the business that we're in. So, and to get everybody into the groove of discussing this, let's talk about the first case, McDonald's. So in my full day training, there are lots of different cases for us to start thinking about. But let's start with something that a company that we are all very familiar with, right? McDonald's. So if anybody asks you what's McDonald's business, so what could be the answer? Let's see some response. McDonald's business. All right. So if you type something in, that'd be great. McDonald's business. Fast food. Okay, Adeline, thank you so much. It is not wrong, of course. Fast food, burgers. Anybody has a different answers besides food, burgers, nuggets, way of life? Not a healthy way of life. All right, someone type in Jessica. Yes, very, very close to that, Jessica Wren. It's actually something to do. Well, it's about property, real estate. But the true story is this: for McDonald's to be able to expand so fast and so broadly across the whole world. The concept of McDonald's business is that you pay, the franchise owner, the franchisee, I'm sorry, they actually pay for their own property, they pay for the rent, and so that McDonald's just get money from royalty and that sort of stuff. So it's a very smart way of doing this sort of a business, franchising. And so you do not have to actually invest in properties. You let others do it. So as the shipping magnate many years ago, some of you might be familiar. His name is Aristotle Onassis. Now, what he said was interesting. You want to grow your business, you want to expand your business. The technique is called OPM. So what's OPM? Other people's money. So it's quite an interesting concept. Yeah. So that's the first case of McDonald's, and so strategically, that's an important element. Because the burgers business, I think one of the first burger business is, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually White Castle, and then Burger King and everything. So all those are earlier than McDonald's, but McDonald's actually is the biggest as far as we know so far as for fast food burger chain. Now we're gonna just kind of type something on the screen, so to get us into understanding. So I'm just admit some more people here. So now I'm going to give 4 names, right? Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Wendy Burgers, Pizza Hut. Okay, Starbucks, Pizza Hut, Dunkin' Donut, Wendy Burgers. So all 4 of this, if you were to add their revenues together, is actually still smaller than McDonald's. So the point I'm trying to make is that operationally, in terms of working through the ideas, whichever companies you work for, the operational part typically is not a secret. It is typically not a secret to know how to make burgers or French fries. The secret is what distinguishes from a great successful companies. Part of it is actually about strategy and about how we execute those strategies. So how many of you have encountered that before? Fantastic strategy, lousy execution. Please type 1. Fantastic strategy, lousy execution. So fantastic strategy, lousy execution. So thank you, Joanne, Veron, Grace, Ariati, Cheryl. Yeah, thank you so much. You guys type so fast, Tracy, Joanne. So you type so much, Serene. So yeah, it's just this, and then there's this thing, you know, that's this. How many of you do this thing called, or either you or your bosses, you do this thing called budgeting, you know, business budgeting. Once a year, you do budgeting. Now, if you do that, let me just kind of clarify that view. Is interesting because budget. Just type something there. Budget, and there's a nickname for that. Okay. Yes, I read it somewhere. Budget is the world's greatest fiction. I'm not sure if you agree with that. So, you know, you do it, you have to redo, maybe you have to do it several times. And so the challenge is always about the execution. So today in this short compact session, I'm going to share with you some ideas on maybe, first we talk about strategy. And secondly is how do we kind of execute together. Okay, so typically, when I do that, I'm going to start with this. You know, what is our vision? What we hope to be able to achieve? That is the McDonald's question. What is our business? Okay, are we just doing French fries, just doing the food, just doing the burgers? Or are we going to kind of make it big? And are we going to leverage on OPM, other people's money, so that they own the real estate, they take the risk? They take the risk of having to pay the rental. I'm just sitting there and getting my royalty paycheck. So that is one example of that. And however, what I like to take it from here is that to kind of switch from a little bit of subjectivity to, you know, hopefully something that is a little bit more objective. So I think most of the companies, if not all of you, you have some sort of a vision, okay? Some sort of vision, and what's the challenge with the vision is that sometimes when I see some of the visions, a lot of them, not all of them, my apologies, some of them are a little bit poetic. You know, it sounds very good, but you're not sure what it really means. So I want to start this particular segment to kind of share with you on an example. So if you have this as your vision, the first step is when we are talking about strategy, is how are we going to convert this into human language, into something that is executable. So that is a combination between strategy, execution, right? Converting this to something that is executable. So now this is nice, as you can see that it's actually a boutique business, right? International boutique, serving people from all walks of life, that sort of things. So the first step is that, ladies and gentlemen, maybe I'd like just to invite you to just type in a bit of interaction as well, type in the chat box, right? Can you type in something that allows the opportunity for the junior level to also understand it in a meaningful way that they can actually execute. So can anybody translate that into something else? You know, it's just, this is not wrong. The vision itself is okay. To be an international boutique serving people from all walks of life. Okay. So my red fonts hopefully may help you a little bit. So how do we do that? So let me just look at the chat first. Someone typed it in. Our aim is to be global, serving everyone. Thank you, Grace. Thank you very much. So the rest of you, you know, can try, and a few more of you can just try. In. Our purpose is to get you to think about this vision. My promise is that as you participate more, you kind of internalize more as well. Anahita is world famous or age groups. Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much. So you can do that. It's not a problem. Pursue expansion overseas and target full range of customer segment to serve everyone everywhere. Okay, Jessica, thank you. And it's the first thing that we need to do as far as this is concerned. So the key question is that looking at this nice vision, how are we going to change it to something that is, you know, can be understood by all levels of management, including all the ways down to the toilet cleaner. So I'll drop you a hint. I've been to an organization when I talked to the toilet cleaner, his or her answer, because what is your company vision? Our company vision for my role as a toilet cleaner, as long as I have maximum two leakages per year, I'm actually helping my company to achieve my vision. So even at that kind of a level. So, and I suppose I want to thank you, Ki-kun and Cheryl. Yes. So first rule of the game, ladies and gentlemen, first rule, yeah. After you look at your organization visions, if you go back, you look at opportunity, talk to your bosses, change it to something numerical. Okay, change it to something numerical, such as this. This is an example, yeah. So when we talk about vision, it's the vision itself. It's okay, as I've said, it's nothing wrong, but it's very nice for you to convert into something. So as you can see here, the word international and all walks of life, this organization which I work with as because I mentioned I talk about being a consultant, right? So I kind of work with them, and we actually set up something. It's a big picture to be international. 10% revenue is local, 90% overseas, at least 30 countries. Okay, so that is an example of a conversion to align strategically. Of course, with that, you can actually further cascade it down to the rest of the people. So the idea of this is for this to happen, the vision itself may not mean much. You got to convert into something, as I mentioned. I use the word executable, something that people can actually understand and understand this in a meaningful way, not just in English. Okay, so we need to have certain deliberate steps to manage this. And in the program, we have a little bit of full detail, but today I can actually share with you actually 5 steps. Okay, so from vision to goals and objective to tasks to timeline, follow-up, and action. I think the first 2 we did it already, vision and goals and objective. So this is vision, goals and objective at a high level. And the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, for this to work, you do not have to depend on your bosses. You don't have to depend on bosses to come out with vision. You can actually have the ability to come out with your own sectional or departmental vision if you so wish. Okay, but of course the important thing is that your sectional or departmental vision would need to be aligned with the whole organizational vision. So these are the 5 things. I'm just giving you some examples that you can actually look at that, and we can take some photos if you wish. So the first step, vision, as I've said, it can be for the organization, it can be for a department. So for example, my vision for my department is to be the best cost savings department in my organization. If you're from human resource department, I aim to be, my vision is to have a very stable employee turnover rate, that sort of things. So, but the first thing that's vision, it is not numerical. So you got to follow by the second one, which is the goals and objectives. Okay, so 12% improvement in efficiency with the same headcounts by January 14, as an example. Before we get to this a little bit, further down the road, right? I just want to kind of check with you that in the case that you have goals and objectives, right? How do you set goals? So we actually introduced the concept, things like, in my session, I'll be working with you on that. How high should you go? How low should you go? So we can talk about that. But remember, this 12% improvement is just what I've kind of written down. So this is for reference. This is actually followed by tasks. Okay. So remember, our topic is strategy execution. Okay, talking is no good. What are the plans? What are the exact things that you got to do in order for this to come to fruition? So you have the vision, you have goals and objective. So the first 2 items anchor our direction and the thoughts. And the third one is just the tasks. This one I've just put in just for the sake of just helping you to really understand what constitutes the tasks. It could be cross-training of employees, motivation, maybe change my own management style. Instead of scolding everybody, scold, I should do something else. Good recruitment matching, etc., etc. So those are the tasks or activities. So item number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is the execution part. Okay, so you got to be able to execute it in such a way that is actually meaningful. Now, having done that, the tasks is not enough. You got to have a timeline. So there's a kind of timeline, consecutively, your cross-training is ongoing, motivation is ongoing, change my own management style, immediate, and so on. So, and then of course, good recruitment matching, Right. So this is just an example timeline. The last one, of course, is the follow-up. I would strongly recommend, ladies and gentlemen, if you're talking about the execution of the plan or the strategy, you can, of course, you can have weekly or monthly or whatever meeting, doesn't really matter. But we want to track those numbers so that we can have some sense of control as well. And some people may have attended my actual training on management skills, and of course my webinars, free webinars on management skills as well. And you may be familiar with the last line items that I've kind of written down here. We are only interested in talking about who and when. We don't ask why. So, and for those of you who are new in this, or new to me, first time seeing me, maybe I can kindly check with you, can type in the chat box, right? How many of you believe meetings can solve problems? Please type yes. Okay, those of you who, just repeat the question. If you believe meetings can solve problems, please type yes. So, thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Grace. Okay, right. So you have a mixture of yes and no, not always. Thank you so much. Okay, depends on the problem. Great. And for those of you who say yes can solve the problem, thank you, Adeline, the last one. And I guess your meeting could be very long. So in the case that we say meetings can solve a problem, my input is this, ladies and gentlemen, meetings cannot solve problems. Of course, you can discuss about problems, and problem can only be solved when you get out of the meeting room and do something. That is as simple as I can put it to you. Strategy, execution. So the strategy is fine, you can think about it, you can plan for it, you can talk about it, but the action is what counts as far as execution is concerned. So the longer you sit in the meeting room, the more you talk in the meeting room, the problems do not disappear. It is still there. So you've got to understand that's a distinction between here. So, and therefore, a lot of times we get stuck in meetings talking about this and everything. So my favorite question when I ask people is this: how many of you look forward to attending any meeting? So you don't have to answer that. So it's quite an interesting question. Okay, so that is so far we talked about a quick combination between, we talk about the strategy, McDonald's, we talk about vision, we talk about how do you cascade it, how do you convert some of the vision to something that can be executable, and that is the framework that we would typically recommend. Okay, having said that, we're going to give you some tools as well, of course. But before that, if you could just take a pause, right? Towards the end, if you can ask questions now, you feel free to do so. Towards the end, there's a little bit of time. If you have a bit of time left, you can actually have some question as well. Okay, so I'm gonna just show this to you, and my colleagues, other trainers may have showed this. Is about the value curve as well. But before we get into that, it's one of my favorite quote by Dr. Peter Drucker. There's nothing quite wasteful in being efficient in doing things that should not be done at all. So if you take a moment to think about that, so a lot of people are busy for nothing, right? So they're very efficient in doing something, but that things that you're doing efficiently might not be required at all. So this is what Peter Drucker, the management guru, said. It's actually quite wasteful. You're spending time becoming so efficient in doing things that you should not be done. So I think that really illustrates the idea of the combination between strategy and execution. Okay, so let's talk about strategic alignment. And so an interesting question, yeah, if you type your chat box, this question. So it's a yes/no question. Could someone just type in your chat box, please? University should secure services of top professors and top lecturers. Is that something that you can agree upon? You just let me know. Okay. Aizal, I hope I didn't pronounce your name wrongly. Let's just say yes. Yes. So how many of you say that we should have top lecturers and professors in the universities? Okay. No. Great. Grace is my top student, actually. Cheryl depends. Shanzira say yes. Yep. So this is, by the way, this is not a trick questions. Yeah, thank you. Xiaohui, Kikun, Josia, depends, Serene, thank you so much. It's not a trick question if you think about it, right? I'm a parent of 2 grown-up children. They're both working now. By the way, imagine you're a parent, right? So what is the top thing that you actually, if you think about sending your kids to university, right? So I'm going to type in 2 things for you to ponder. You think about whether it makes sense or not. Okay, so just type something like this, maybe Ivy League. Okay, okay. I've just typed couple of words here, Ivy League and, sorry. So ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the chat box I've just typed in, right? If you've got 2 choices, which one do you think is more important to an average parent? So I just got to emphasize that. To an average parent or average pair of parents who have university kids, okay, and sending them to which university, it's a big consideration, it's a big decision. And I said average because you may not be, you may not be a multiple super millionaire, doesn't matter, no problem. So between sending your kids to Ivy League for an average parent, yeah, or sending them to a university that has very fantastic reputation on employability, which is your top choice? 2 choices, send them to Ivy League and send them to a university that is great, fantastic employability. Okay, fantastic. So we have 3 concurrent answers. Thank you so much, Tracy. Employability. As I've said, the context is important. Yeah. So if we are well connected, we are rich enough, then it doesn't really matter. We got lots of choices. You can send them to Oxford, Harvard, MIT, Cambridge, whatnot. Fine. NUS, right? Affordability, exactly. So Xiaohui, yeah. So an average parent, we got limited choices. And as I said, I'm a parent of 2 kids. What I hope for is quick, go to university, quick graduate, quick find job, so that I can shake my leg. Okay, so that is just an example of what we call strategic alignment. It doesn't mean all universities should have this, as long as they're credible, they're properly accredited, and the graduates can have the ability to get jobs very, very, very easily. So it suits a group of people. And that brings us to with this very important word here. So for you to have a vision, for your strategic thinking to be meaningful, and for you to execute it meaningfully, the understanding of value is very important. And it's all customer driven, okay, or clients driven, and stakeholders driven. So what do they want? So in this case, remember the context. We are not saying Ivy League is not good. It just depends on the context. So if you have a lot of your customers, majority of customers in the case of universities, if your target is an average kind of a people, the certain level of society, then you do not necessarily have to engage top professors, top lecturers. As long as it's properly accredited, you get the good employment connection, and you can get a job easily for the graduates. That's good enough. So what's my point? Ladies and gentlemen, very easy question to answer now, I hope. Do you agree that we take a lot more money, a lot more effort to hire top lecturers and top professors? Not only that, we have to know how to keep them, okay? So it takes a lot more effort and time to get those good people in, and that's the point. If the value of your clients is just employability, then you do not have to necessarily get involved in getting those top people in. So this is a concept of value. This is a concept where Peter Drucker mentioned. Sometimes we want to be efficient, fine. But sometimes we are so efficient in things that we should not be doing at all. It is waste. Okay, so you have ROI, that's fair enough, and of course you got to have, you look at your organizations, you know, and if you hire overqualified people, then we have another set of problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you a quick introduction to this strategy executional tool. And the first one of a couple of items that we share, the first one is actually what we call value curve. If you look at the chart, value, this value curve, this company just wanted to let you know, Accor now is very, very big hotel chain now. But when they started, they are in the budget level, okay, cheap budget hotel when they started Accor. And I won't read everything here at the bottom of the screen here. These are the attributes. So, for instance, if we look at the Accor is in the yellow chart, the yellow curve. If you in the budget or low-cost hotel, just start with a couple of items, then the rest is self-explanatory. Do you need to have restaurants? The answer is no. Do you need to have fantastic architecture at the bottom here? No. Does the room size have got to be big and so on and so on? No. The point is, value curve is a very important strategic tool. You have to have the sense of looking at this and look at between you and your competitor, and looking at the customers or the clients as similar in the context of university. If my customers don't care about architectural design, remember budget hotel, they don't care whether you have a restaurant or not. So those things that they don't care, I'm going to eliminate, I'm going to cut away, save time, save money, save effort, so that I can push my effort to the ones that really matter. In this case, as you can see, the higher yellow dots curve here is that bed quality, hygiene, room quality. So this is an example of breaking through the curve. So understanding this, how to actually apply this. So that's just one example for that value curve. You can try this in the organization. Just now we tried about the university. So you can have lots of other stuff as well in order for you to think about. But in a full session that we're going to be having workshop in breakout groups, how to actually implement the strategic thinking, the vision, the alignment, the value curve, and of course the 5 steps that we actually talked about. So this is the implementation tool for us to implement the strategy, and that's just one. The other value curve, which took it from the master of blue oceans, this is actually about this Southwest. If you're ever familiar with low-cost budget travel, things like Air Asia, Jetstar and everything, the grandfather of budget travel is this company called Southwest, the blue ones you see in the screen. So they actually look at the same thing, the value curve as well, or the value canvas, and they look at things, should I have this and should I have that? Okay, the point is this, things, I got to have a very clear mind, clear eyes to execute this. Things that the customers don't want, I don't give. And then things that the customer want, I give a lot more than my competitor. So that is a strategic tool for application of our topic. So this, again, this is just for reference. So there are a lot of details in between. So that's the value curve. Now, having said that, I'm going to share with you something that is boring, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually quite sure most of you have seen this before, if not all of you. So today, I'm just talking about S and W only. So the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threat. Let's talk about S and W. And I'd like you to take a couple of minutes to think about this question. S and W is internal within the organization. Opportunity and threats are external. Okay, so let's talk about strength and weakness only. And if we look at S and W, if we look at this and try to answer this question, which would be your priority if you don't have much time. Okay, so if you have a choice between the S and the W, and you're short of time, which will become your priority? Okay, thank you, Tracy. Strength. Okay, strength. Guibi, weakness. We can have a combination of strengths and weaknesses. You can type S or W as well. Robin, thank you. Weakness, strength. So it's a combination of both. Yinling, sorry. Serene, strength. Weakness, strength. Ariati, thank you. So Anahita, Jessica, strength, thank you. So it's a combination of both. Maybe we can start explaining. We'll just pick just one of you just one representative from W, and why you pick W and why you pick strength. So, okay, elimination of weakness. Okay. So, and what's the rationale of us choosing either the strength or the weakness? If you're short of time, of course, right? Which one to prioritize? Some say strength, some say weakness. So what's the reason? And if I could just answer this in a strategic sense, if I may. Okay. Elimination of weakness will become a strength. Okay, Victor, thank you. Okay. Strength can cover for weakness. That's a possibility. Okay, great. So you have a couple of ideas for different groups. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much, Victor and Anahita. If you could just maybe draw your attention to this strategic thinking now. Okay. If you are improving on your weakness, you are actually trying to catch up with people. So I'm just going to type here. Sorry, just going to type here. Okay. That's one. If you're improving on your strength, you're kind of ensuring others can't catch up with you or can't catch up. So it's an interesting argument. I just typed something on the chat box. Yeah? If you are improving your weakness, not wrong. Improve your strength, not wrong. The argument just comes from the fact that if you're improving on your weakness, you'll be attempting to catch up with others. Okay. If you're improving on the strength, you're trying to ensure that you pull away and try to ensure that others will find it difficult to catch up with you. So that's the big distinction. And of course, as I've said, I would not be in a position to say improving on strength is wrong or improving weakness is wrong. So you can see these two contrasts, right? And now comes to the very big important question in strategy, ladies and gentlemen. If you're catching up with people, which is improving your weakness, versus ensuring others can't catch up with you and improving your strength. Between these two, which one is entirely out of your control? It's really out of your control. Catching up with people, or as in the case of improving your weakness, and versus improving your strength. Out of your control. I believe. Okay, Jessica has typed in something. Thank you. Might be improving their strength. That's right. So you imagine Grace as well. If you are improving, it's not a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing. Okay, but remember, if you are improving on your weakness, if others are improving on those things that are better than you, they become faster and faster, and you would probably may not have a chance to catch up with them. Now, having said that, we're not talking about zero chance, by the way. We are just talking about strategy is necessarily, you got to have a laser-like focus on what you want to execute. Remember, the keyword is execute. You might be catching people's dust. You might be catching up with them, no problem. So it's something that you have to really consider And in our program, we actually have a full repertoire of those tools and techniques to actually help you to look into. And when you look into that, then a little bit of interesting cases for us to think about, yeah, how to improve the strength, improve the weakness, catch up, or making sure others can't catch up with you. So let me just talk about a couple of examples. Some of you may have seen this. So these medical products, medicine, and wellness product, mainly medicinal products. And these products are owned by Nestle. Okay. Nestle own all these products, right? So now, why do you think Nestle's are going into that? And Nestle's strength, of course, is the brand, and their strength is the bank account as well, the reputation, the brand. They also have a huge team of scientists in the food industry. Okay, so why are they getting into it? They actually watch this, and of course, this is part of the strategic things that they do. They don't wait until they become very, very weak before they do something. A quick sharing, Nestle's quite not too long ago, their revenues. So ladies and gentlemen, if you start at the bottom, yeah, milk and ice cream, 16%. This is Nestle worldwide. The 16% is a few hundred million. Confectionery, the most favorite one, of course, is Kit Kat, right? And then you have the prepared dishes and cooking aids, tomato, Maggi, the Maggi brand. Okay, so you have the ice cream, Nestle, you have the Kit Kat, you have the Maggi brand, not just the instant noodles, but the sauces as well, chili, tomato sauce, etc. So all these already are multiple $multiple million kind of product, if not billion. And the most, or one of the most famous products, also minus 6%. And this is a famous Nescafe and Milo. So all the products that we are, familiar with as far as Nestle is concerned, they are all in negative territory. And look at the top three items: pet care, water, and nutrition and health science. They are in a big growth area, especially the last item, nutrition and health science. So, and if I were to look at this, I would actually make a judgment that Nestle may not be collapsing so fast. And some of you have heard my story about Kodak and Fujifilm, so I wouldn't repeat that anymore. But except to say one thing today, and if you look at the case of Nokia, very interesting story. So all of you have seen my slide earlier. Nokia started with paper and rubber boots, first business. And they became very, very popular, very well known to all of us in the third business, which is the handphone, third business. Okay. And they are not very careful. Where is Nokia now? So that is the diverging path between strategic execution and strategic non-execution. So I do not believe Nokia didn't have strategy, but it's the execution that counts. Of course, you have both, right? So it's not so much about the argument between chicken and eggs. So you got to have both. Not yet, Grace. I'm guessing maybe your green tea Kit Kat is this your favorite? So not so fast, but the point is that Nestle is preparing for the marathon. So it's kind of it's a game that they play. How to last so long. Right? Nestle the trajectory came out, I believe, during the Second World War. They have this condensed kind of a coffee, instant coffee. Okay, so that's Nestle. So back to this strategic execution. These two organizations are no strangers to us. So of course they merge. Okay, my question is that if you're talking about merging, why not Grab disappear from Southeast Asia? And why Uber disappear from Southeast Asia? Okay, so that's interesting. So I'm gonna here to tell you that in terms of strategy execution, right? In terms of size, Uber was much bigger. It is still very, very big, bigger than Grab because it's worldwide. But the point of sharing this is that, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to come from a smaller organization, don't lose hope. So the games that people play, you look at all these, Nokia, Nestle, say, oh, wow, so big. Smaller companies have a chance to survive, provided that they understand strategy and the execution. There are lots of things like value curve. Remember value curve? You don't have to play all the games that everybody is playing, right? From university to hotels. Okay, so SWOT, S and W, strengths and weaknesses, is another one. So what did Grab do? In Indonesia, for example, this was a number of years ago, not many years ago, because Grab is quite new as well, right? It's a number of years ago. They actually, during the fasting month, Muslim holy month, Ramadan month, hire or charter free buses, painted Grab, of course, to take the Indonesians to go to the mosque and pray. So this is leveraging on the strength of local knowledge, right? Local knowledge, local sensitivity, local respect, and having a lot of goodwill as a result of that. So this is an example of strategy execution. So it's something interesting for us to, again, think about, for us to ponder. And so for us, so the compact sharing for this 1 hour, the point I'm trying to work with you is this, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of points to conclude. There's some question as well, if you so wish. But I just want to work with you, right? So please do not get distracted by new things. You can see on the screen, I put down the word novelty, right? Versus newness. So I think the important thing is about substance versus form. And I'm very, very fortunate because I've been not just doing my job as a trainer. I'm very fortunate I've got to have the opportunity to do my job as a management consultant as well, where I have the opportunity to implement ideas. And so how many of you attended trainings, very exciting trainings, and then you're not sure how to apply it when you go back? So that is a gulf. That's quite a big difference between implementation and excitement in the training. So I think Anthony Robin, or I can't remember who, that's in training, that's this thing, entertainment and education. So hopefully we can actually have both. So my suggestion is that you look at substance versus form. Very important part about what we do. And we have a few more minutes for us to have, if you have any question, or you think about any question, of course you can type it in. It's not so convenient if I unmute you because there are 69 of us, so it can be quite messy. You can type in the chat box for a bit of questions. We have some time to answer that. This is Aventis. And this is the program. We want to attend the full day program. It's actually on the 24th of this month. So let me look at your question while I leave this screen. Because what is brought up, can I know if pastel analysis? The answer, Grace, yes. Pastel is actually, okay, if I could just address this way, pastel is to handle the O and the T. Political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental. You can use that to handle the second half of SWOT analysis, opportunity and threats. And the logic is, pastel allows you to be anticipatory. So if you look forward to pastel, if you're able to grab the opportunity and do something, then it's the opportunity. But if you look at pastel and you missed it, and you have tsunami coming, you're still not aware of that, then it becomes a threat. And therefore, whether it's opportunity or threat, it comes back to the word that we talk about, strategic execution. So the strategy is for us to look at this pastel in conjunction with SWOT. But how is our execution? Are we able to see this and do something? Okay. So thank you, Grace, for that question. Hopefully that helps. So pastel, you can use it for the second half of SWOT analysis. Serene, why do we not ask why during? Okay, during the why in the what we call a review meeting, right? If you ask why, the tendency is that we have given people the opportunity, sometimes, especially the not so good people, to give excuses, and it kind of lengthens the meeting. Have you seen, Serene, of course, the rest of you attended meetings when people say, hey, customer complaint very high. Okay, why customer complaint high? So the sales or customer service department would answer. If they are honest, they would take the ownership. If not, they could say, oh, because customer service, our staff new. Why new? They resign. Oh, why they resign? And then from the original story, new resign, and then it becomes a human resource problem. Then human resource, why resign? You pay peanut, you get monkey. So you pay cheap, people cannot stay long. So have you seen those meetings before? The ball has been kicked around from one court to another. So we like to have a Serene. My suggestion is that we like to have a very laser-like focus. Robin, thank you. So who, for example, okay, customer complaint. If I'm chairing the meeting, if I'm the boss, I would actually ask this: who is responsible for customer service? I will put the name there, and I put the when. When can you fix this so that we don't have this problem, so that we can still achieve our customer service KPI? Who, I write the name. When, I write the dates. No why. Why? Okay, Andrew, after the meeting, you go out and settle why and how. You need my help, you can talk to me, but in the meeting, I don't want to tie up everybody's time. So my suggestion is that for this kind of meeting, for really execution, we want action, and we do not want stories. So we want people to actually take charge of that. Hopefully that helps, Serene. Thank you. Hang on. Why do we ask so many people? Always, I see. Adopting a God problem, let's solve it together mentality. Yeah, we can solve the problems together, but not talking about the problem in the meeting. Of course, we need to have a teamwork. We got a problem, let's solve it. Where I'm coming from is there must be some kind of this ownership and accountability. I don't type very fast. Ownership and accountability. And the ownership and accountability, if I could just get that before I get to Cheryl, ownership and accountability is, how many times have you attended meetings? You see that some people, the way they explain things, it's very good. They as if they're actually from the tourism industry, you know what I mean? When you ask them what problem, they explain and then explain. It's like they take you tour around the whole world, right? Have you encountered that before? Suddenly you're in London or Paris. Then when you wake up from your consciousnness, the meeting is over already. Next week, talk about the same thing again. So that's my response to that. What do you mean by substance versus form? Okay, substance versus form. Form is, it looks good on the outside. Substance is really, you got stuff. So some people, Cheryl, or any one of you might have seen before. They once you've understood substance versus form, some people, they look very good, they talk very well, they walk very well, they smell very good, etc., etc., etc. That's the form, but that doesn't mean they are not good. Substance means, well, good. They look very fine. They look very, confident. They look very competent. But at the end of the day, substance answers one question: how is their results? Are they able to do a good job? So there's a difference between substance versus form. And if Cheryl, if you can add something just to maybe link to what we have talked about, not just Cheryl, all of you. Have you seen people who got promoted just because of how they look and how they look outside especially? And people got promoted because of how they talk, right? Have you seen those before? But they can't do a good job. And so this is a contrast between substance versus form. Substance means something that can work, something that can deliver results. Okay, so form is just a shape that looks very nice from the outside. Of course, Cheryl, ideally, have both. But if you ask me to choose, okay, you need to choose both. But, if it's good that we can actually improve both. All right, so thank you. Be able to anticipate and know how to resolve problems. Yes, we like those who can. So that is what execution is about. Ask me not to socialize with lower rank. My pleasure. Okay. So I think keeps the question rolling. What we have is that we have, I think, a few more minutes. So since we are here together, and if my response are okay for you, you can ask maybe one question that you can maybe wrap it up. If not, if you are interested in attending my program, you can take a snapshot on the screen here, right? And it's just on June the 24th. It's a full day session. And so thank you, Robin. Thank you. Thanks for all your appreciation. I appreciate all your time as well. So thank you so much. If you have no further questions, I'll see you next time. If you do have more questions, you can email to the administrator. And thank you so much. I really respect your time. Right. All the best. Thank you. Cheers. Bye now.